Crossovers, they're taking over. Well, at least they're starting to really eat into the sales of a lot of vehicles, including sedans.
But these two cars behind us, the 2018 Toyota Camry and the 2018 Honda Accord, have something to say about that.
They do. Their numbers are still massive.
So how do we decide which car is better? Well, how about we do a full buyer's guide?
Okay.
All the numbers.
All right.
We can do a drag race.
All right.
0 to 60.
Okay.
And at the end of the video, how about we choose which car we would purchase with our own money?
Outstanding idea. And that's coming up next.
In many respects, these two cars have different philosophies when it comes to powertrain. Under the hood is a 3.5-liter V6, naturally aspirated, with a rating of 301 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. There are also two 4-cylinder gas engine options and, of course, a hybrid.
Are you guys ready to see the 252 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that puts out 273 pound-feet of torque? Yes, you are. But check this out. This is one thing that this car has that the Toyota doesn't. Two different settings for the hood. See, look, one there, and this one, which is known as the servicing location. This is hooked up to a 10-speed automatic transmission, which goes directly to the front wheels, of course, but you can get a 6-speed manual transmission. And you can also get a 1.5-liter turbo that doesn't quite put out as much power as this, but look at all those options. Isn't that great? Now, there is one more thing. Consider this. This vehicle puts out more torque, but less horsepower than the Toyota.
Now for the really fun part.
That's right, we're at IMI Motorsports Racetrack.
Let's do a drag race.
And a 0 to 60.
Here we go. Sport mode enabled, traction control disabled.
And we're over a mile above sea level, so having a turbocharged engine really helps.
This is very interesting. I don't know what's going to happen because the Camry has so much more horsepower, 301 versus 252. The Accord has a little bit more torque. And the Accord is a little bit lighter, about 150 pounds lighter.
Off the line, no problem. This thing is so quick off the line.
Ooh, wow! The Accord just kept going and leaving me.
Were you sleeping?
Maybe.
Yeah, some cuddles. I have coffee. Want some coffee?
I think we had a fair start.
This thing, it just click, right through the gears, really quick.
Well, you have 10 speeds, right?
Yes, I do, and I also have a turbo.
Well, let's switch cars. Maybe I did something wrong.
Switch cars?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I like the Camry a lot, not in a drag race. Not at high elevation.
Camry has an 8-speed. Accord has a 10-speed.
So we'll see what happens. Got a better start than he did. But, yep, there he goes.
The Camry had a good takeoff. But the Accord, my goodness.
I think I got a better start than you did, but it didn't really matter.
And it's fairly quiet, too. I mean, it's kind of a, you know, cool experience.
All right, well, we figured that part out. Yay!
The competition is still very close.
Yeah, but there's a way to separate the men from the boys and, well, the women from the girls.
Really?
Yeah, and that's a rev battle.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. Andre went to the Honda Accord event and I went to the Toyota event, and now we're choosing different vehicles to critique. And I think one of the major things you can see right off the bat is styling. Very different.
Personally, I like the Accord a little bit better. Even though it has that chrome strip in the front, the styling speaks to me.
I think they're both actually pretty good looking considering what they are. I like the Accord wheels. They're gorgeous. They scare me because they stick out so much and it looks like it's begging to be eaten by a curb. But at the end of the day, I kind of like the way the Camry looks, especially from the back with the quad pipes.
The other interesting part is that all of the current sedans are going to that kind of low roof style, almost like a fastback roof.
Right, right. And these vehicles definitely look it, especially the Accord.
So what do you think? What do you think about the interior here? Almost real looking wood.
I like the way the wood looks. I have to admit, you know, every single time that I think about this car, this is what comes to mind.
Ooh.
Not the power. No, a negative. This.
The shifter, the buttons?
I hate the buttons.
The transmission?
Now if this had the manual transmission, oh, it'd be heaven, yes. I'd love it. It's one thing I like about having a manual. It's always the same.
Yeah.
Being able to rev this engine and have fun with it, it's great. The driving characteristics of this car are, you know, no doubt sportier than the Camry, in my mind.
The Camry is a sales leader in this segment. And the interesting part is, in Q1 of this year, the Camry sold around 80,000 units, and it was growing in sales. On the other hand, the Accord sold about 61,000 cars, and it was actually declining.
You know, last year, the Camry outsold the Accord as well, so they are different. They're also different in terms of their philosophies with engines and all that. But check this out. They get the same combined MPG at 26.
That's remarkable. City and highway ratings are also identical.
Bizarre.
Well, we can talk about numbers all day long until we're blue in the face.
Well, they're so damn close.
Yes.
Like across the board, it's almost as if they invited each other to their studio right before they released the vehicle just to make sure that their numbers were really super close. Well, what do you think of the interiors?
I can see all the buttons are well laid out in here.
Yeah, that's what I like.
I don't know, something just doesn't rub me the right way about this kind of curve in the center dash.
I love the Honda wood, but in this car, I kind of like this metal stuff. At least they didn't try to do fake carbon fiber, which I can't stand.
Let's talk about the interior space for a minute. The Camry actually wins this battle on headroom. Nathan, how tall are you?
6'1"-ish.
Okay, I'm about 6'2", and I was just driving the Camry. How about you get in and see how big it is?
Yeah, I got good space. Headroom is slightly compromised because of this giant sunroof, but according to Toyota, even with the sunroof, you still have 0.8 of an inch more headroom than the competitor. Altogether, it's relatively spacious, but you have to be careful not to hit your head here, which is typical of all new cars nowadays. According to Honda, there's more leg and shoulder room in this vehicle than the Toyota. Why don't you get in, give it a shot.
All right, let's see. In the back, the Accord has actually 2.4 inches more legroom than in the Camry. And I'm really comfortable back here as far as legroom. Also, shoulder room is great. They're kind of tight on hip space, but my head just barely touches the roof. The sloping roof is eating away into the space here.
Well, let's hope nobody sits back there that's as tall as you. The trunk battle is on, and I already win.
Why?
16.7 cubic feet of space.
What?
Not only that, but I decided to bring a extra passenger right there. Say hi, Jeff.
You brought the teddy bear. Well, the Camry's trunk is actually 15.1 cubic feet, which is actually sizable, but the Camry has a bigger fuel tank.
Really?
Yep, 16 gallons in the Camry, 14.8 gallons in the Accord.
Go figure.
I propose a new TFL test.
Well, technically it's not new. I used to do this years ago.
Well, I call it bear cuddling in the trunk.
And I call it really good TV. Hop in.
Jeff, just move over. How did you used to do this?
Well, for one thing, I didn't have a bear. Just think about sneaking over, you know, the border into the Ukraine. Now watch your head, because this thing comes down. Fine.
The hinges.
You're good.
Hey, you know what, guys? I do fit. Let me out. That was my first trunk experience.
Of course it was.
Oh, you know what? The opening is smaller. My shoulders don't quite fit.
Okay, here we go.
Go slowly, please.
Of course.
No! Hold on. There is a thing I can pull. Oh, thank goodness for the safety latches.
So the other one's got a little bit more space for it.
Especially the opening itself. The Accord actually has a bigger opening, so it was easier to get in and out.
Both these vehicles do have a spare donut, and they have inflation kits.
Hold on!
Yeah, good handling.
Okay.
I like how smooth this car is. It's a little bit less sporty, I think, than the Honda.
Well, I would call it a little, more relaxed.
It's a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, and also, actually, both cars have paddle shifters. Yeah. I'm in sport mode right now.
I mean, these are the two top dogs, right? Top dogs. But right there with them is the Chevy Malibu, Ford Fusion, right?
The Ultima, too.
Yeah, that's right, which is now
being redesigned again.
Redesigned, new body, all-wheel drive is going to be an option. So, I mean, there's a lot of changes, but the point is that these cars have a lot of competition as well. You know, it's a coin toss, and the bottom line is whichever one you choose, you're still going to win because they're really well put together. That sound you're hearing is me getting too close to the camera car.
That's driver aid system, proximity warning.
Yeah, it doesn't like the way I drive.
It sounds like you're drawn more to the Camry.
It's the little things that really make it a car that I like.
It's the quad exhaust pipes on the Camry, you admit it.
Yeah, I like the way they did the quad exhaust on the Camry, and I wish they did that on this car, especially because this one has the beefier 2-liter turbo that's right out of the Civic Type R.
Yeah, it's a kind of a detuned Type R engine.
Right, so why not have dual quads going across or whatever?
Can you imagine a Type R Accord with all-wheel drive?
That would be insane.
What if that happened?
With a manual transmission? Whoa.
But what about safety?
Yeah, what about safety?
Well, according to IIHS, the Camry actually wins this competition on safety because it gets a 2018 Top Safety Pick Plus. The Accord gets Top Safety Pick, but no plus.
That's right, and that has to do with the headlights, and it's 1 point down.
Such a tight battle.
It is a really tight battle. All right, Toyota Camry time. With traction control going up to just around 1100 RPM. But slightly better launch that time. Don't know if that's going to help. Yeah, 8.09. Now this one will let me rev up to 2000 RPM, and it works pretty good in this car because you have to spool up the turbo to mitigate lag. I'm going to rev it to just under 2000. Boy, this thing really likes to get off the line quick. Yep, that is faster, noticeably. 6.84. That's quick.
The time has come. We gotta choose which car would we personally buy if we had the money.
All right, well, let's talk about pricing then, because I think it's a big deal. My car comes in as equipped, the one that I want, at $38,220, and that car is the Toyota Camry.
Really?
With one exception.
What?
If the Honda had a manual transmission, which is available, I would definitely choose the Honda.
Well, I have to choose the Accord, and not just because it's a little bit less expensive in this case, $36,690 for this touring 2-liter turbo, but the Accord just speaks a little bit more to me, especially the driving dynamics of the car. I drove both cars, and the Accord has a small edge, and you can go back to tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, real-world reviews.
See you guys. Yeah, but once again, they do have a version that has a manual transmission. I am so grateful to Honda for doing that and having the guts to do that, because the take rate on manual transmission sedans has got to be incredibly low.
It is low, but they're still sticking with it.
Good for them.
Thank you, Honda.
Yeah. You know, like BMW and Audi do it, but really in terms of this bracket, I can't think of very many automakers that do that, especially with the top engine. You know what I mean? Base engine, yeah, there are a few cars that still do that.